Hello everybody, we are back with another vulnerable Kenya Premier League weekly game review. Today we're looking at a match that was just unbelievable with a stunning last-minute comeback. So AFC Leopards managed a dramatic 2-1 victory, but you really have to see how it happened. So how on earth did they pull this off? Well, for most of the match, it was tense. Honestly, it looked like a sure loss for Leopards. The real drama happened right at the end. Get this, for 96 minutes of this game, AFC Leopards did not have the lead not once. Then in the 84th minute, it looked like the visitors APS Bomet had snatched the win. Their substitute Philip Wasai scored, putting them 1-0 up. It really seemed like game over, but then deep into stoppage time, the entire game just flipped on its head. Christopher Kalotto, another sub, found the net for Leopards, making it 1-1. The stadium just went crazy. As they say, it's not over till it's over. And then just 2 minutes later, Ronald Sichenje scored the winner. An incredible comeback, an unbelievable finish that just shows you why we all love this beautiful game, right? So this comeback wasn't just about snatching 3 points out of nowhere. No, this result was all about the top of the table. This was a massive statement. With that win, AFC Leopards jumped right into the #1 spot in the Premier League. What a result for Leopards. But it's a crushing loss for Bomet, keeping them in danger. You know, this is the kind of gritty, never-say-die performance that builds champions. A last-second win like this, it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Full game review coming right up. Let's take a short break. Alright, let's talk about a football match that was pure, unadulterated drama. We are talking about a game that seemed completely over only for everything to be turned on its head in the dying seconds. This is the story of AFC Leopards versus APS Bomet. Hello everybody, we are back for another Ball na Ball Kenya Premier League weekly game review, and wow, do we have a classic for you. This time we are diving deep into an FKF Premier League match that honestly had everything. You had desperation, you had heartbreak, and a comeback so wild it felt like something out of a movie. Seriously, this wasn't just a game, it was a full 99-minute emotional roller coaster. So let's set the stage. The scene is Nyayo National Stadium, Saturday, January 17th, and the stakes, they couldn't have been higher. This was a proper top-of-the-table clash meeting a desperate relegation battle. You know, a real David versus Goliath situation with two teams fighting for completely different futures. And I mean, you couldn't get a bigger contrast between these two clubs. On one side, you've got AFC Leopards, Ingwe, who are right in the thick of it, hunting for that league title. And on the other side, you have APS Bomet, literally fighting for their lives to stay in the top flight. I mean, one team is reaching for glory, the other is just desperately trying to hang on. That's the kind of tension that makes football just so good. So the game kicks off, and for most of it, that tension just hangs in the air. It was a real tactical match. You know, both teams had their chances, these little moments of promise that just fizzled out. For 83 long minutes, the score was stuck at 0-0. You could literally feel the frustration building up in the Nyayo Stadium. It felt like one moment of magic or one single mistake was going to decide the whole thing. And then the 84th minute. Just when the home fans are starting to get restless, probably thinking, okay, a frustrating draw it is, the unthinkable happens. The deadlock is finally broken, but absolutely not in the way anyone at Nyayo Stadium expected. The man of the moment, a guy named Philip Wasai, and get this, he'd been on the pitch for less than 2 minutes. He comes on as a super sub for APS Bomet and just pounces, scoring his 5th goal of the season. Just like that, the underdogs, the relegation battlers, have a shocking 1-0 lead. The away fans go absolutely wild. For AFC Leopards though, it was a total gut punch. You could just feel their title hopes slipping away right there. But then came stoppage time. And this, my friends, is where the game went from just another football match to the stuff of legend. This was pure, unscripted football at its absolute finest. You know, there's that classic saying, it's not over till it's over. The Swahili commentary actually had a great version of it, haijaisha mpaka iishe. And man, has that phrase ever been more true than in this match. AFC Leopards were down for sure, but they were absolutely not out. Look at this timeline. The last few minutes were just pure, unfiltered madness. At 84 minutes, you've got despair for Leopards as Wasai scores. Then all the way in the 97th minute, a glimmer of hope with an equalizer. And then in the 99th minute, absolute pandemonium. The entire story of the season was completely rewritten in just a handful of minutes. So, APS Bomet had their hero, their super sub, right? Well, Ingwe had one of their own waiting. In the 97th minute, Christopher Kolote, a guy they called the Bull, just powers through and scores the equalizer. He threw his team a lifeline when it looked like all was lost. 1-1. The stadium just erupted. They had somehow clawed their way back from the absolute brink. You could hear the commentators just screaming, "Come back ya Kibabe." It's this awesome Swahili phrase that basically means a mighty, powerful, totally epic comeback. And believe it or not, they weren't even done yet. Then, can you believe it? With just seconds left on the clock, the ball falls to Ronald Sinyenje and he scores. He scores 2-1. It's an unbelievable, impossible turnaround. One of the commentators even shouted, "Maiti anapiga chafya," which means the corpse sneezes. That's how dead and buried Ingwe looked just minutes earlier, and suddenly they were alive and roaring. It was just pure, beautiful, wonderful football chaos. Okay, so after all that drama, after the dust settled, what did it all actually mean? Well, besides being one of the most memorable wins in recent history, this result had a huge impact on the league table. Let's take a look. So, have a look at this. Those 3 points were absolutely massive. It lifted AFC Leopards from what looked like a devastating defeat right back to the #1 spot on the table, level on points with their rivals Kogalo. But for APS Bomet, man, just utter heartbreak. To be that close to a crucial point, maybe even 3, and have it snatched away like that. It leaves them stuck deep in that relegation battle. It really was a game of inches, but the consequences are measured in mild. So, what's the final verdict? What do we take away from this absolutely incredible match? Because it's more than just 3 points. This was a statement. This is the kind of moment that can define an entire season, and it really leaves us with this one big question. I mean, look, winning when you play well, that's one thing. Any good team can do that. But to snatch a victory from the absolute jaws of defeat in the final dying seconds, that's something else entirely. So, was this what we just saw? Was this the spirit of champions? Could this be the moment that signals this is finally Ingwe's year? We'll leave you with that thought. So, what do you think? Was this the spirit of champions on display? We would like to hear from you fans, so leave a comment and let us know what you think. I'm your host Paul Lashope. We'll catch you on the next one.